Good.
And live from Tent City, a.k.a. Shenley Park, is our mostly peaceful co-host, Mr. Gordy. Mark, how are you?
We are still in one piece here in Allegheny County. The encampment in Oakland has dispersed, and we're still doing well here, Joe. All is well in Western Allegheny County. I'm ready to get this party started this afternoon. By the way, we'll start, as we said last episode, we'll just kick it off right off the bat. We want to take callers eventually this episode, so if you're voting, if you're riding with Biden, give us a call, 724-843-1888. Let us know why you're voting for Joe Biden in the fall. And, Joe, turn it back to you.
Okay, so we have these protests going on at college campuses across the nation, and I want to first point out how some of our media is covering these quote-unquote protests. If you watch MSNBC, CNN too, I guess, they'll have you thinking these police officers are jackbooted Nazis putting their boot prints on college kids' foreheads. Yet, most of the people arrested aren't even in college or from the area. It's amazing to me how all of a sudden protesting is just absolutely fine in this country. But remember, how did the media, the same media, cover the same kind of protest we saw in the past? Why is our media reporting negatively about the police response? Because I remember how they reported what went on January 6th. Remember, an officer shot an unarmed woman with no warning, and the media clapped like seals over it. Why? How did the crowd really act on January 6th versus these college protests? These protests are not natural. Like I said, they're not even college kids. They are paid agitators hired by NGOs, it seems like. I know it. You know it. Our media knows it. So again, why do they have the backs of the agitators? I have a message to legitimate Palestinians that care about what's going on in Gaza. Do not go to these protests on college campus. You are being used to push a narrative. Trust me, I've seen this one before. You go to protest the situation in Gaza by holding signs, and the next thing you know, some crazy person with a giant N95 mask on their face throws a Molotov cocktail through a counter-protester. This happened a lot in 2020, and it's going to happen again now. Did you miss the memo that NGOs are funding these protests? You know who has a big NGO? Alex Soros and his father, George. Ryan, you like Seinfeld. Could this be the summer of George Soros?
You know what? I really love the summer of George, but the summer of George Soros sounds like bad news, Joe.
It is. It's going to be bad news. Also, I thought George Soros was Jewish. And this is coming from DC Drano on X. Have you noticed the same green tents and printed signs at these Hamas encampments? We figured out why. These occupants are being coordinated by the U.S. Campaign for Palestinians' Rights. It's funded by George Soros. Absolutely amazing. Also, remember, George Soros owns the prosecutors and district attorneys on a lot of these campuses. Agitators may be arrested, but that's about as far as it's going to go. So you have our media, and now the prosecutors compromised. This is why we have to win in 2024. And speaking of 2024, before I send it to you, Mark, why is this even being treated as a main news topic? Palestinians versus Jews? This is America. This is an election year. Do you really think this is an important issue for our country? No. Our spending and our debt is. And while these protests, which again are funded by NGOs, are going on, we see more taxpayer money being sent to these two foreign countries. Mark, what would happen if all these protesters decided for some weird reason to don MAGA caps? What would change?
They would have been lynched in public. It would have been an outcry to the likes we've never seen before. It would have made January 6th look like a field trip to the Capitol. Again, as I said before, on, I believe, Monday, I look at this as in a binary viewpoint, with a binary lens. Does this help Trump? Does this hurt Trump? I can tell you what, Joe, this is not a good look for the Biden administration. These people refer to Joe Biden as Genocide Joe. This is not a good look. I mean, these were his voters in 2020. So he's losing a large chunk of this electorate, I guess you want to call it, and people see this across the country, and they're not going to break for Biden. Probably not going to vote for Trump either, which is fine by us. Probably going to vote for Cornel West or just stay home. But The other thing is, we see these people in their needs that they're asking for. Let me just read to you some of this. This is from the UCLA Palestine Solidarity Encampment before it got absolutely destroyed last night by the police. I mean, they went in there like gangbusters and broke it up. All right, so this is what they're asking for. This is urgent. Headlamps, airsoft goggles, gas masks and respirators, skater helmets, shields, wood for barriers, knee and elbow pads, rain ponchos, canopies, utility gloves, bright flashlights with strobes, umbrellas. They're also asking for EpiPens, non-steroid inhalers, headlamps, bins, and then food, hot food lunch, vegan food, shocker, gluten-free food, ice, and then no coffee, no bagels, no bananas, no nuts. We saw one of the leading protesters in Colombia asking for humanitarian aid. You put yourself there. You're there voluntarily. Why are you asking the university for humanitarian aid? If you want a bottle of water, get up and go get one from somewhere. Don't act like the university's on the hook for your well-being when you're there voluntarily. So I'm not going to really take a position as the proportion of the response and whatnot, but this is.
I have to say real quick, they're asking for aid. They better be careful. Mike Johnson might just give it to them. I'm sorry. Had to get that in.
If they get a Ukraine flag, they might get some aid. But I don't know, Joe. I mean, is this really helping the cause? I think their message has been made, and I don't know which way this is going to go. Is it going to continue? Is it going to get worse? I can tell you one thing, though, Joe, and I think you'll agree with me. This is a test run for the fall. They're laying the groundwork, they're laying the infrastructure for the fall, whether that's October, whether that's post-election, if and when Trump wins. Because if and when Trump wins, they're going to go back to this playbook, and they're going to make this, and they're probably going to join forces with BLM, and they're probably going to get other people out of the woodwork. You're going to see probably more paid actors and more paid protesters come out and join this cause, we'll call it, in the fall if Trump wins. So it's not going to be a pro-Palestine protest. It's going to be an anti-Trump protest, which are going to see kind of the same thing that we've seen in the last couple of weeks.
Well, you brought up, and this is, I think we have this on here, the Den fundraising platform, Act Blue. I think they financed the George Floyd protests. And they're in on this one, too. This is from Robbie Starbuck. Wow, Act Blue is getting a cut of the money that's being sent to fund the college encampments plus the protest. After they get their cut, they use it to boost Democrat candidates. This is like a washing machine for money laundering here. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they got to take the juice, Joe. It's, they got to take their cut.
All right. I know you were excited because you thought Karine Jean-Pierre would have her feet held to the fire. We have two clips. In the first one, she's talking about what went on in Charlottesville in 2017. We're going to break these down. Ryan, can you play the first awesome Karine Jean-Pierre clip?
Yeah.
You think about Charlottesville, you think about the vile anti-Semitism that we heard.
Okay, Mark, have you heard any violent anti-Semitism on college campuses? What is this lady talking about? She's bringing up 2017. We're talking about what's going on now on college campuses. What are you talking about Charlottesville for that happened in 2017?
Well, going back to holding her feet to the fire, I think she held her head to the fire, Joe, because she lost a chunk of her hair on the side of her head. I think she got a fresh high and tight from Mickey's at the mall. But, yeah, she's just lost. I've seen some of these clips in the last day or two from her. And they really need to push her out because she is just not helping. I mean, they really don't even say a whole lot about these protests. And Biden's been silent. I mean, where's he? Make a statement. Come out and say something.
Well, did you see? Okay, so is she wrong or is she just lying? Ryan, play the second clip when you get whenever you get a chance.
But there's a small number of students who are causing the disruption, and I've been very clear about that. And
well, are they students? Because again, all the people that were arrested, and we could go search Twitter and find all the arrest records. Number one, they don't even look like college-age kids. Number two, they're not exactly Palestinian looking. And number three, they don't go to the school or even from the area.
Yeah, did you see the mugshots from, I think it was the University of Florida?
Yes.
Yeah, they're not college students.
Florida people are a little bit different, but they didn't look like college students to me. Okay,
What does this do for the Ivy League schools going forward, and schools like UCLA, USC?
Hurts their recruiting.
I mean, are people going to steer clear? Or are they going to,
You got to think they would. I mean, if it was my kid, I would. You talked about Biden addressing this anti-Semitism. Well, this came up just a little bit ago. President Biden will address rising levels of anti-Semitism in a May 7th speech. May 7th. Why not June? What's the rush, I guess? Seriously, May 7th after school's all done? What are they currently doing? Recharging him or something? Do it today. Say something today, Joe.
It's just par for the course. It's par for the course, Joe. That's all you could say. I mean, Donald Trump is tied up in court. Dave, come out and say something. You have the spotlight. You have the floor. By the way, Joe, speaking of Trump, did you see the crowd at the Michigan rally?
Yes, we had that wrong. We said it was supposed to be on Monday. It was Wednesday, his normal day off from court. And wow, it was the place where Kyle Rittenhouse had that issue, wasn't it? Waukesha. Yeah, Waukesha.
In Wisconsin, and then he went to Michigan.
Yes.
That crowd at the Michigan rally was unbelievable.
Speaking of going to Michigan, you know who else is going to Michigan? More refugees. More refugees, Mark. This is breaking news. The Biden administration is considering allowing Palestinian refugees into the U.S. and providing them with a path to become American citizens, a.k.a. hello, newcomers. Welcome to the United States of America, where our streets are paved with gold. Make yourselves at home. Mark, why are we bringing them here? Why is everyone coming here? Someone please explain it to me as if I woke up every morning and ate crayons for breakfast. Why are they coming here? Do they even want to come here? Wouldn't you want to stay in your own country and have it fixed?
Well, you're talking about the streets paved with gold. Though, Joe, there was a saying in the old Italian community when the immigrants came here to America. They thought the streets were paved with gold. But then when they got here, they found out they weren't paved at all. And they would be the ones paving the streets. But speaking of flying, bringing immigrants into the country, Joe, I just saw a chart from, I think it was Department of Homeland Security, whoever released this. It was the Biden administration has flown in immigrants, illegals, and this is part of a way to alleviate pressure on the border. And in the top three cities they flew migrants into were Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and I think Orlando. So they are doing Governor Ron DeSantis down there no favors at all by flying all of these illegals into the country. I mean, just saying that is like, you have to be like, what's going on? Like, why are we flying illegals into the country?
The vote? Because Joe Biden needs a new base and everyone hates him? Can't you tell? So we need to bring in more illegals and immigrants. Isn't it obvious at this point what we're doing? And he's even admitting, he's saying the quiet part out loud. We're going to give him citizenship. Watch how quick.
Yeah, let him go to Michigan, Joe. I know it gets nice and cold up there in the Upper Peninsula.
All right, let's cover Frat Boy Summer real quick and one other topic, and then we're going to move to a break. So, oh boy, this is from Colin Rugg on X. The frat boys who held up the American flag at University of North Carolina and told a pro-Palestine protester to lose some weight have had 270K, I think it's like 350K now, raised for them to throw a rager. Epic. And the person they're yelling at it's a white woman. Again, we've gone over this. The frat boys are yelling at a white woman at a Palestinian protest. And this is weird. This is from Gays for Trump. Are the police in Los Angeles finally about to raid the UCLA pro-Palestinian encampment? There's easily 1,000 more people on a campus compared to last night. Where are the frat boys when you need them? And that's by Gays for Trump? Like what? Gays and frat boys teaming up and being pro-Trump. I did not have that on my bingo card. Who's going to vote for Biden? Not the gays, not the college kids, not the Palestinians, not the Jews. Like we said, Mark, I guess it's just the illegal immigrants refugees and brainwashed white women.
I think his base is down to like the only demographic that Biden leads Trump in are like single unmarried white women. Seriously. And I think, he still leads them in African American overall, but he's losing large chunks of that too. But I don't think unmarried white women are going to carry Biden to victory in November. I mean, the polls are widening now in Trump's favor, and it's every one, So would you rather be winning or losing at this point, Joe? I'd rather be winning. I'll take the polls, even though people say don't trust the polls. They're skewed, blah blah blah. I'd rather be winning than losing. All right. So this is an interesting demographic, though. Gays for Trump. Gotta love it.
All right. Before we move to break, real quick, I want to mention Representative Jamal Bowman. When I was 11, I was a victim of police brutality simply for being black in America. Now I see that brutality being inflicted on peaceful students at Columbia. I just want to remind our audience before we move to a break that this is the same guy that pulled a fire alarm to stop a House vote on a spending bill. Isn't that interfering with a government proceeding? I mean, this guy was a high school principal and said he pulled a fire alarm by mistake. Okay, we got to take a break, but when we return, more immigrants are crossing the border and coming into the heart of our country to settle down, start a family, and get a job. It's beautiful. What more could you want? Sure, one of those 12 million might kill you or your neighbor, but where else are these people supposed to go? Have a heart. And stay tuned. This is Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP.
Be the grilling expert on your block and buy a grill built to last like the Weber Spirit or Broil King Pro for $829 or the Napoleon Freestyle for just $449. Plus free assembly and delivery. Check out our full lineup of Amish-made outdoor poly furniture on display now and take an extra 10% off until May 15th. Grills and outdoor furniture built to last. Only at AK Nahhouse Appliance, Furniture, Mattress, and TV in Industry, PA. You'll do okay with AK.
Hey, can you imagine trying to hit a fastball or throwing a runner out at home? It's hard to think of doing these things under perfect circumstances, let alone with the distraction and discomfort of dental issues. Regular dental care from Dr. C. Timothy Lip can improve your productivity, happiness, and focus, even if you're not in the big leagues. Dental problems affect more than just your teeth. Visit lipdentistry.com or Dr. C. Timothy Lip Family Dental Offices on College Hill and Robinson Township.
Whether it's Little League or the big leagues, it's time to get out and play ball. Friendly Federal Credit Union reminds you that every team looks forward to playing at home in front of a live crowd. Seeing loyal fans can help any player feel more comfortable. Just like a home game in baseball, Friendly Federal Credit Union always has friendly faces to help and cheer you on at the teller window. Now get out of that dugout and in front of your cheering section. The personal live tellers at Friendly Federal Credit Union.
This is Andy Toole, men's basketball coach at Robert Morris University, here to talk about my friends at Falcone Moon Township Ford. I know what it takes to win a basketball game. It begins with practice and a team of players who want to win. The same is true of the team at Moon Township Ford. Professionals who will win you over. They'll find the best rate and terms on a car loan to help you get the best deal. Make a fast break and avoid the roadblocks that stop you from finding the car you want. Go where I go. Moon Township Ford.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford. We're friends. Send friends.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically on your hometown 99.3 WBVP. All right, Ryan, we were talking before the break. You love Seinfeld references. Remember the importer-exporter episode?
Oh, absolutely. One of my favorite episodes.
Okay, this country used to be a big importer and exporter. Now it's basically just an importer. What does it import? Can you name anything?
Stuff from China.
Yeah.
Refugees.
Yeah.
Fentanyl.
Yeah. Anything else? It's our next topic.
I might need help with this one.
Immigrants, yes.
Oh.
And that brings us to our next topic. This is from Bill Melugin on X. Internal DHS data reveals that 45 plus U.S. cities have hundreds of thousands of migrants that were flown into via the Biden administration's controversial CHNV mass parole program. The data was obtained by Homeland GOP via subpoena to Department of Homeland Security and was provided to Fox News. It shows that during an 8-month stretch from January through August of 2023, roughly 200,000 migrants flew into the United States via the program, with 80% of them, that's 161,562 of you like exact numbers, arriving in the state of Florida in 4 cities: Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and Tampa. Mark, there's a whole list of cities from Vegas to Chicago, from the cities to the suburbs probably. What's going on here with this importation of this voter block?
Yeah, I got a little bit ahead there on our last segment talking about this, but I'm sure it's no coincidence that they flew in 151,000 over that migrants to Florida. Luckily, Pittsburgh has 0 on this list, but I sent you an interview yesterday from Tucker Carlson. He was interviewing a guy by the name of Michael Yon. And this guy was down in the Darien Gap doing some investigations into the NGOs that are down in the Darien Gap in Panama. If you don't know what the Darien Gap is, to our listeners, it's a very, very, very dangerous part of Panama, one of the most dangerous parts of the world, where they literally hand out rape kits to women and girls because of the high frequency of rape there. But where I'm going with this is one of the NGOs that are helping these migrants get through the Darien Gap and giving them assistance on their way to the United States is an NGO, a non-governmental organization called HIAS, Joe. HIAS stands for Hebrew, I think, International Aid and Service, something like that. It's a Jewish American nonprofit organization that provides humanitarian aid and assistance to refugees. Joe, any idea who used to sit on the board of this NGO?
I'd have to guess George Soros, Alex?
Oh, you're close.
Alex Soros?
Another Cuban Jewish man, actually. He's the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Joe, by the name of Alejandro Mayorkas.
Oh, wow. Mayorkas is Jewish. I forgot about that.
Yes. So they are actively assisting these people, coming through the Darien Gap and on the way to Panama and up through Central America.
That's a big story because, number one, remind our audience, what does Mayorkas do? Doesn't he have something to do with the border?
He is the head of the Department of Homeland Security, Joe.
Department of Homeland Invasion.
Impeachment trial in the Senate, and he is actively assisting and aiding in the invasion of this country. Joe, we've been talking about this for like almost 2 years now. This has to be the biggest issue of this election. This country is under invasion, and it has been under invasion. We have over 13 million people that are here illegally. I am all for mass deportation if Trump wins. Get the military involved, get the National Guard involved, do whatever you have to do to deport everyone that is here in this country illegally.
Hey, Joe and Mark, let me jump in real quick. You guys follow this and keep up. And let me ask a question just for, maybe the average person out there who isn't paying much attention. And they hear all this stuff about George Soros and he's funding these people and he's funding those people. What is it? How could this continue to go on with George Soros if he continues to pump all this money into things that are corrupt, into things that are, the things that George Soros is involved with? And how could he be stopped? Because I've been hearing this name, myself personally, about 10 years, 15, maybe 12 years on this name, George Soros. Is there a point or is there anything that can be done about this guy? Or is he going to continue to be able to fuel these flames and start this trouble and bring all this trouble to America? Is there anything that can be done by anybody anywhere to stop the likes of people like George Soros?
Nope. You just got to wait for him to die. He's like 97. Exactly what you said is what I've been thinking for the past 10 years as well. What can we do? Everyone knows about George Soros now, but nothing is ever done. Nothing's ever said about him. And we'll get into this later, actually. There's a bill coming out, an anti-Semitism bill. It's going to be crazy. You're not going to be able to say anything anti-Semitism out loud. And you got George Soros funding Palestinian protests. The whole thing makes your head explode. How is this guy able to pull this off? We know where he got the money. He's a billionaire. But it's a good point. We don't know.
So
it's a merry-go-round.
Here we are in America. You have, 300 and some million American citizens, and we just have to sit here and take every blow that he sends at us because he is what he is, and that's just the way that it falls. It's very unfortunate, and seems like there should be something that could be done, but I don't know what that would be, guys.
You need about 80% of the country to be awake to it, and right now we're probably about like 50 or 60 mark. We were probably about like 10 a couple years ago. We're moving. We're getting there, right?
People are waking up. You could just feel the vibe starting to shift in the country, I think, just in general. And that has to do with most of the people in this country that are probably, under the age of 45 that are not getting their news from the legacy media. They are going to X. They're going to independent media. And I think that's really we can't really underestimate what Elon Musk did for X and for the media. But him buying X, I think, really was one of the moments we'll look back on and say this is one of the things that turned the tide.
I don't even know if George Soros is an American citizen, so we have to focus on what we can do. And moving on to our next topic, here's something we can do. We could do something about Mike Johnson. This is from Marjorie Taylor Greene on X. Mike Johnson is the uniparty speaker. He has passed everything the Democrats' wish list and now has the endorsement of Hakeem Jeffries. Mike Johnson can no longer be speaker. I will be calling for a vote to vacate the chair next week so the American people can see who stands with the uniparty and who stands with the people. Okay, let me unwrap this. Hakeem Jeffries said Dems would vote to table the motion. He quote, "We will vote to table Marjorie Taylor Greene's motion to vacate the chair. If she invokes the motion, it will not succeed." Tabling a motion for our audience means to postpone the discussion until a majority, I believe, votes and decides to resume it. Now, why in the world would the Democrats get the back of a Republican speaker all of a sudden? Because I guess that was the backroom handshake deal. They probably guaranteed to protect Mike No Johnson for more money, for Ukraine. This is it. This is the uniparty. This is them showing you, the American people, a glimpse behind the curtain of how it works. You just have to think logically to see it. Mark.
That had to have been part of the deal. But I also think Marjorie Taylor Greene, who, we're big fans of, I think is getting played a little bit here. This is not a good idea. I think this is some sort of 4D chess going on, Joe, and I don't think we've actually... You brought up a good point. You're probably right, but I think there's something deeper going on here. I'm vehemently against vacating the chair of the speaker right now. We do not want a speaker, Hakeem Jeffries, when the House could very well determine what happens with this election. It's in play for sure. But Mike Johnson, as you have noted here, he opened the checkbook to Ukraine, reauthorized FISA, did nothing for the border. I mean, something happened with this guy, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It's a uniparty. There are no Republicans and Democrats. Most of Congress is just what makes up this uniparty, where they're all in lockstep when it comes to certain things.
Okay, to remind our audience before we move on to the next topic, Mike Johnson was able to get more money approved for Ukraine, $60 billion, maybe $60+ billion. He reauthorized, I think it was his vote, reauthorized the FISA order, and he did nothing at all for the border. Does that sound like a Republican or a Democrat to you? It's neither. It's the uniparty. All right, speaking of Democrats, Joe Biden, I don't know if it's considered on the campaign trail or not, but he had another faux pas, I guess we could call it. Biden calls ally Japan xenophobic along with China and Russia. His remarks come weeks after Biden welcomed Japan's prime minister to the White House. Mark, I gotta gather myself here for a second. Hold on. Let me read his actual statement first for our audience. This is Biden's statement. One of the reasons our economy is growing is because of you and many others. Why? Because we welcome immigrants, Biden told Asian American and Pacific Island donors Wednesday. The reason that, think about it, why is China stalling so badly economically? Why is Japan having trouble? Why is Russia? Why is anyone? Because they're xenophobic? They don't want immigrants? Ryan, Mark, Japan is known as the Hermit Kingdom. The Hermit Kingdom. That means they don't like outsiders. You know what? And stop me if you noticed this before. You know what I never noticed Japan having? Mexicans. Wow. What racist they are. What is wrong with this guy? He's one misnap away from saying my son Bo was eaten by Japanese cannibals because he was white. Mark,
I'm just waiting for Tony Blinken to get involved in this and end up calling the Prime Minister of Japan to clarify Biden's statements here when he declared the entire country to be xenophobic. But
an entire country, the Hermit Kingdom.
Oh, I think that's North Korea, actually.
Oh, yeah, I think you are right. It is North. Regardless, the Japanese aren't known for being, these social butterflies.
Right. It's all about respect and face, as Mr. Broughton said back in 7th grade. But like Barack Obama said, Joe, never underestimate Joe's ability to F things up.
Yeah. The White House transcript of the interaction between Karine Jean-Pierre and a reporter that asked this morning about it was absolutely amazing. Karine Jean-Pierre's response. Look, here's what I'm saying. He was talking about who we are as a country, right? He was tackling about importance about being in a country of immigrants, especially as you see the attacks that we have seen more recently. She's just bringing on nonsense here, Mark. And I can't play the audio because they were on the plane today and you really couldn't hear what she was saying. But do you want to say anything else about this or student debt with Biden before we move on to our last topic and then on to a break?
We have to read her first answer after the question. She said, "Look, the president was very clear, and I think that is a typical Karine Jean-Pierre answer. She is not the right person for this job, but for this administration."
All right. Also, this is from Joe Pagliarulo on X. Just so I understand, the SCOTUS told Joe Biden he couldn't cancel student debt, yet he continues to do it. He's doing it to buy votes, and no one has the right to try to stop him, according to Joe Biden. He approved like another, I don't know how many billions of dollars or something for student loan forgiveness for some art school. Is that right?
I don't know. What did you see? Speaking of trying to buy votes, apparently they're moving marijuana from a Schedule 3 to a Schedule 1, or I think vice versa, Schedule 1 and Schedule 3 drug. So they're taking it out of the same category as heroin and moving it to a lesser category. So apparently this is supposed to, win some votes over from the pro-cannabis crowd.
Hunter Biden, why not more? He's probably thinking.
Again, the state issue.
All right, let's move on to one of my favorite former congressmen. It pains me to say this. George Santos. Mark, former Congressman George Santos has revived his drag queen persona, Kitara, is it Ravache? For Cameo. In this dude's troll level is amazing. And before I close it out here and we move to break, do you have anything to say about Kitara?
No, I'm getting my first glimpse here of Kitara here on X. Wow.
I don't know what kind of wow that is. I'm going to stop you there. I don't know if your wife's listening.
That's all I could say. What's the Cameo cost? We have to look into this.
It's like $400 for
birthday gift for you.
Katara is more expensive than George Santos, and I'm not even making that up. All right. Never forget what the Democrats and Rhino Republicans took for us with this awesome, awesome guy. And for what? He didn't bring cocaine into the White House chambers. He didn't have intercourse with anyone in Capitol Hill property like that one staffer, Senate staffer. He didn't even pull the fire alarm like Jamal Bowman did. We talked about last break. Who I'll remind our audience again, he's a high school principal. Before he was a congressman, he was a high school principal. A high school principal, and his excuse for pulling the fire alarm was he didn't know it was a fire alarm, and we let him off the hook. All right, that's 2 segments in a row we ended with talking about pulling fire alarms. I'm getting spring fever here. Temperatures are rising. You know what else is rising? The Clinton body count? Another Boeing whistleblower has been found dead after he testified at a deposition. Hey, it's like Remo from Goodfellas said, or I'm sorry, the movie Casino said, why take a chance? We'll talk about how this relates to Hillary Clinton when we return to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 WBVP.
Has your classic car or hot rod seen better days? Just call me, Dave Rodenbaugh, and my team at the Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company. The full-service hot rod shop offers it all. Everything from custom fabrication and restoration to regular maintenance and collision repair. With over 40 years of experience, there isn't a job too big or too small. The Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company's enclosed trailer service ensures safe transit for your ride during any season. The Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company is located at 6th Street in Beaver Falls. Visit pahotrod.com or call 412-719-4950.
One of the greatest honors a person can receive is to be gathered with their people at the time of their passing. Even biblical authors, when they wanted to explain what it meant to have lived a great, prosperous, and meaningful life, spoke of the individual as having lived a long time and being gathered with friends and relatives near as they closed out their twilight years. Being gathered together with loved ones is something that the J&J Spratt Funeral Home takes very seriously as well. The comfort both given and received cannot be underestimated. J&J Spratt Funeral Home also knows that the honor shown to a loved one at their time of need in this manner is still the right thing to do today. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has been gathering together with area families for 4 generations and looks forward to honoring future residents deserving of being gathered together with friends and family. Click jjsprattfh.com.
Hey, can you imagine trying to hit a fastball or throwing a runner out at home? It's hard to think of doing these things under perfect circumstances, let alone with the distraction and discomfort of dental issues. Regular dental care from Dr. C. Timothy Lip can improve your productivity, happiness, and focus, even if you're not in the big leagues. Dental problems affect more than just your teeth. Visit lipdentistry.com or Dr. C. Timothy Lip Family Dental Offices on College Hill and Robinson Township.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 WBVP, your hub for all views and opinions that are dangerous. Today's episode is brought to you by Grossi & Associates. Grossi & Associates, voted Best of the Valley from 2018 to 2023 and probably going into 2024. Mark, they were voted on legitimately. Do you think anyone pulled in with boxes at the Stobo VFW at 4 a.m. whenever they were doing the Best of the Valley?
We'll have to get Colin Fisk on here, Director of Elections for Beaver County, and ask him that question.
All right, let's move on.
If we have anyone listening out there, give us a call, 724-843-1888, and let us know why you are riding with Biden.
They might not exist. I don't know. Maybe they just haven't gotten to the country yet. All right, anyway, Trump was in 2 separate states, technically. They were kind of close to each other. This is from on Wednesday. This is from Johnny MAGA on X. Trump started the day in New York, flew to Wisconsin for a massive rally, then flew to Michigan for another massive rally, then flew back to New York to be in court before 9 a.m. tomorrow. Biden can never. Mark, this is the definition, I believe, of vigorous.
Yeah, he doesn't take any breaks. And honestly, I have to ask myself sometimes how he does it. Like, how does he continue to go at this pace? I mean, he gets 1 day off, or 2 days off. He's in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and then he heads to Michigan as well. But we did see here about, I did want to mention, I think we'll get to it. The judge is going to allow him to visit Barron's graduation ceremony apparently now, so which is great.
Wow.
Thank you, Judge Juan Merchan.
Such a nice guy. We'll get to him and his daughter later. Do you want to dive into the Trump trial that was today? Because there was some bombshell stuff going on in there. Let's see.
Let's do it.
All right. This is from A Muse on X. Trump prosecutor is forced to invoke his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination when asked under oath if he violated the law during his investigation of Trump. This is Matt Gaetz questioning him. I believe this was a few weeks ago. It wasn't during the trial today. This was a deposition, I believe, a few weeks ago. Ryan, play that audio when you get a chance. About 40 seconds.
Under advice of counsel, I'm not going to answer that question, sir. Privilege against self-incrimination.
And did you knowingly break any laws when investigating President Trump?
Same response.
Did you break any laws when you worked at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Objection. Same response.
Ms. Pomerantz, did you violate any person's constitutional rights when you worked on the Trump investigation?
Objection. I have the same response to your question.
Did you violate any canons of legal ethics when you were investigating President Trump?
Objection. Same response.
Did you ever violate any canons of legal ethics while you worked at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Objection. The same response.
Now, did you hear that man, a prosecutor, invoke the Fifth Amendment about 20 times? Because there's more to the video than that, trust me. Look, I don't make the rules, but the rules are the rules. And according to the rules set by the left years ago, him invoking the Fifth Amendment means that the Trump prosecutor is admitting that he, quote, broke the law when he was investigating Trump. Look, this guy was attached to the office very briefly and left because he thought Alvin Bragg wasn't going to bring a case against Trump. Don't believe me? Look it up. Mark, did you hear these simple questions that were asked? Why won't he answer them?
So are we talking about this guy, Mark Pomerantz?
Yes.
And is he involved in this trial now?
Not anymore. No, not anymore. We're going to get to the part that was today, Stormy Daniels' lawyer. But like that, why invoke the Fifth? Nothing was that hard to answer there. Like just, did you violate anyone's civil rights as a prosecutor? No. What would make him even think that he did? This is before you. This is the second time that a prosecutor has had some kind of issue because the Fani Willis case too. I mean, what is going on with these cases? These are jokes, and he has the gag order. He can't even say anything about this, or else they might throw him in jail.
Yeah, he's already been fined $9,000 because he apparently violated it, and Judge Mershon held him in contempt.
Mm-hmm. Let's get to the trial today. Okay, so Keith Richardson, the lawyer for Stormy Daniels, he was on the stand today, and he was questioned about the 2018 letter that he wrote for Stormy Daniels in which they denied any romantic affair ever happening between her and Donald Trump. In the statement, this is his quote from the trial today. In the statement, I said Daniels never had sexual or a romantic affair with Donald Trump, and that could be true. That's what he said. This means a key witness actually, just admitted that Trump, on the stand, just admitted that Trump may not have even have had a romantic relationship with Stormy Daniels. And then Keith Davidson, lawyer for the adult film actress Stormy Daniels, said in court also that the $130,000 payment to Daniels was not hush money, but a, quote, consideration payment. And he said that Michael Cohen was very upset that he wasn't going to be part of the Trump administration after Trump won in 2016, and that could be the reason why he did this. This case is already falling apart, and we haven't even gotten to Judge Mershon and his daughter yet, Mark.
Again, this is the same case, Joe, that the Federal Elections Commission and the DOJ refused to take up. But yet, Alvin Bragg, the district attorney, wants to bring these charges, 7 felonies, Joe?
Yeah, it's like 100 years.
34 felonies, something like that.
When you add up all the cases, it's literally like 1,000 years in jail.
Yeah, this one I think is like at least 34, 37 felonies. Complete and total election interference.
And he can't even speak out. And one of the things he wants to speak out is about Judge Mershon's daughter. And this is also from AMUSE. Again, a great account on X at AMUSE. AMUSE, yeah. Question, why is a foreign-born acting judge presiding over the most important trial in our nation's history given the fact that his daughter has a financial interest in the outcome? Mark, why do you think? These are all rhetorical questions. We'll never know, but this has mistrial written all over it and bias.
There's just such a conflict of interest here. I mean, the people on the left love this stuff. That's the thing. That's the thing that that maybe sometimes we forget, that they love this stuff. This is they salivate over things like this. They don't think there's anything wrong with this, But I would say at least 51% of the country, if they knew about this, which I'm not even sure if they do, thinks this is completely crooked and wrong. But you know what, Joe? Let it keep happening. Let it keep happening because his poll numbers are going up. The leads are getting bigger. He's becoming more popular. I think most of the country realizes that this persecution against him is wrong, and they're doing it for political reasons. So you know what? Let it keep happening.
I just wish
He's
it
going to
wasn't
be a martyr.
I wish it wasn't a federal trial and we could get the cameras inside to see. But these courtroom paintings are actually awesome. There's really not much we could say, Alice. There's the next Friday's the next day, and then they got Monday and Tuesday. He'll be back in trial. So far, 1 for the Trump team, 0 for the prosecution. Actually, it's more than 1. It's like 100-0. And that's just this case. Trump still undefeated. The Teflon Don, I guess you would call him. All right, Mark, in your little rant there, I heard you say the word crooked. And that is our next topic. Well, let's pause.
She's beautiful Hillary now. She's not crooked Hillary. She's beautiful Hillary now.
Beautiful Hillary Clinton. You're probably going to wonder, how does Boeing and Hillary link up? But this is from Champagne Joshi on X. Yet another Boeing whistleblower has died. Dean became, I think his name is Josh Dean. Josh Dean became ill and went to the hospital because he was having trouble breathing just over 2 weeks ago. He was intubated and developed pneumonia and then a serious bacterial infection, MRSA. He was 45, was in good health, and was noted for having a very healthy lifestyle. Okay, now for those of you that don't know, anytime someone dies a strange death or commits suicide, I cross-reference them with Bill and Hillary Clinton almost immediately. And this is what I found. Because this is the second whistleblower found dead. This is from the Washington Post. For Hillary Clinton and Boeing, it's a beneficial relationship. Okay, that's just one. It's nothing probably. It was from 2014, so, can't be that bad. This is from, what's this from? The Seattle Times. As Hillary Clinton favored Boeing, Boeing returned the favor. What's this last one? It's the one I was trying to get.
New York Magazine.
Hillary Clinton has a cozy, possibly shady relationship with Boeing. I mean, when I wrote these jokes about Hillary Clinton killing this Boeing whistleblower, it was just that. It was just that, a joke. But this is the second whistleblower killed, and then you have these headlines. Washington Examiner: Boeing gave Clinton causes after Hillary steered its Russian contract. Oh, I'm sorry. Boeing gave to Clinton causes after Hillary steered its Russian contract. So she helped Russia. She helped Boeing make money through Russia. And is that a scratch my back, I'll scratch your back kind of deal? I'm sorry. What is going on with Boeing and the 2 people being killed? We're kind of just talking about Hillary Clinton, but this is the second guy that sits down for a deposition and then winds up dead a few hours later, a few days later, a week later. What? Is it just me?
Her body count is higher than John Gotti's, I think, at this point. This is an extremely strange coincidence that the second Boeing whistleblower is now died, a 45-year-old man. When I was down in Charleston last month, the Boeing facility, which is right next to Charleston International Airport, is massive, an extremely massive facility, and it's right there in Charleston. But I asked my Uber driver, I said, is this where the whistleblower committed suicide, in air quotes? And he's like, no, it's actually down the road, a little bit. But, very, very strange.
Just before we move to break, wrap everything up and tie it on a bow. Remember, Obama's chef died at his house. You're probably thinking, our audience, there's no way Hillary Clinton had a chef drown. Well, yes, in fact, Hillary Clinton did have a former chef drown. Matter of fact, her chef drowned in a New Mexico desert. And I'll give you some. Obama chef Tafari Campbell's drowning parallels tragic death of Clinton chef. And then, wow, it actually asked me to summarize the article. I should have just clicked yes. I forget the guy's name. He served
His
under
name is Walter Scheib.
Yes.
And he served as the White House executive chef from 1994 to 2005, and he was found partially submerged in a ravine in the New Mexico mountains in 2015.
What happened? I guess we'll never know. Just who would have thought being a White House chef was about as dangerous as being someone laying down radio lines in World War I. Trench warfare. Shout out Ukraine. All right, we're going to have to move to a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about Louisiana Supreme Court and how they're going to allow residents to secede from Democrat-run Baton Rouge. Mark, Are we going to have another civil war by the time we come back from break? I don't know. You're going to have to find out. Stay tuned. It's Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP.
Be the grilling expert on your block and buy a grill built to last like the Weber Spirit or Broil King Pro for $829 or the Napoleon Freestyle for just $449. Plus free assembly and delivery. Check out our full lineup of Amish-made outdoor poly furniture on display now and take an extra 10% off until May 15th. Grills and outdoor furniture built to last. Only at AK Nayhouse Appliance, Furniture, Mattress, and TV in Industry, PA. You'll do okay with AK.
One of the greatest honors a person can receive is to be gathered with their people at the time of their passing. Even biblical authors, when they wanted to explain what it meant to have lived a great, prosperous, and meaningful life, spoke of the individual as having lived a long time and being gathered with friends and relatives near as they closed out their twilight years. Being gathered together with loved ones is something that the J&J Spratt Funeral Home takes very seriously as well. The comfort both given and received cannot be underestimated. J&J Spratt Funeral Home also knows that the honor shown to a loved one at their time of need in this manner is still the right thing to do today. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has been gathering together with area families for 4 generations and looks forward to honoring future residents deserving of being gathered together with friends and family. Click jjspratfh.com.
You're listening to Beaver County Radio, brought to you live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, a winning team. 99.3 FM and WBVP, providing news, sports, and information for 76 years.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 WBVP, sponsored by Mitchell's Jewelers. Mitchell's Jewelers, where their jewelry always outshines the competition. The number to call in is 724-843-1888. Again, 724-843 or 724-774-1888. Just call in. Okay. Mark, 1861 was a long time ago, but what is this story from the leading report about the Louisiana Supreme Court? The new city is going to be called St. George, and it'll have supposedly 100,000 people, making it one of the state's largest cities in population? What is this? How is this allowed? Under Joe Biden, the unifier in chief.
I was like, is this like a headline from The Onion or something? But this is, I don't know how they're going to do this, but they're going to allow residents from Baton Rouge to secede and start their own city. That's amazing. I mean, we might see more cities across the nation do this. I mean, I don't know if this is good or bad.
What do you think the breaking point was?
A dangerous precedent here.
What do you think the breaking point for the people was?
I mean, Louisiana's governor is Republican. I'm not real sure.
Could it have been, do you remember this story? Could it have been the giant Afro-Pick sculpture that they put up as public art? Do you remember all those all the sculptures and stuff they put? I can't remember what year it was. I think it was June of 2022, 2021 or 2022. They put the giant Afro-Pick was their sculpture that they put in front of the giant steel sculpture on St. Charles Avenue. Could that have been the breaking point? The people saw this and was like, okay, enough's enough. If this is art, we're out of here.
Love Louisiana. Great state.
We were down there not too long ago. Would love to go back. Spent time in the French Quarter. It's a beautiful place. It's a shame what Democrat policies can do to a place, right?
Yeah. Do you still have your souvenir?
No, we can't talk about that. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Matt Walsh. Let's move on to Matt Walsh. This is from Matt Walsh on X, and he's talking about this anti-Semitism bill. You need to understand how crazy this anti-Semitism bill is that just passed the House with a wide bipartisan approval. The law requires the Department of Education to adopt the definition of anti-Semitism provided by something called the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. Mark, why is Matt Walsh so bad? Is he going to be the next Candace Owens here? And this is from Kim.com. I just want to read this real quick. The total capture of Washington by Israel is evidenced by a new law that prohibits criticism against Israel for the ongoing genocide against the Palestinians. It's a lot to unpack there.
Is this not infringing on the First Amendment?
Yes, it is, in my opinion.
I don't know if I'm down with this. I'm down with this bill. This is not what we stand for. As much as we love to say any sort of hate speech is wrong, especially anti-Semitic hate speech. But this is definitely infringing upon the First Amendment and the right to free speech, for sure.
Joe Biden's going to make some comment about you can't yell Jew in a crowded movie theater or something. This is... Okay. Hold on, let me see here. If we have anything else on this. Yeah, okay, so these are the 21 Republicans that voted no. Biggs, Boebert. I mean, I could sit here and name them. There's not many, though. There's not many that voted no. Gates, Donalds, some of the good ones. I don't know what it is with FISA, free speech. This is a uniparty. When we say this is the uniparty, this is what we're talking about. Do you think an anti-Semitism bill is going to stop what's going on college campuses? No, especially when the guy funding it's Jewish. All right, let's move on to COVID-19. I can't believe I'm saying that in 2024. This is from Representative Jim Jordan on X. On July 16, 2021, Mark Zuckerberg texted Sheryl Sandberg, Nick Clegg, and Joel Kaplan, three of the highest-ranking executives at Facebook, and asked, could Facebook tell the world that, quote, the Biden White House put pressure on us to censor the lab leak theory? That's kind of a bombshell, Mark, if... the fact that the Biden administration, early on in 2021, his administration wanted to silence the lab leak theory. By the way, whatever happened with COVID? It kind of just vanished. We never got any answers. Where'd it come from? China, whoever? VAT, Pangolin?
Mickey Mouse, the variants. Where'd the variants go?
And one thing that I'm seeing, guys,
how did this just come out?
Good, Ryan.
One thing, if I may, you would have thought, by the way, that they handled COVID and you couldn't spend Thanksgiving Day with your family and you couldn't go to this, and you would have thought the people that didn't get vaccinated would be dropping like flies at this point, wouldn't you?
I'm still alive.
I'm still alive.
There you go.
And everybody that I know that did not do this is still just fine. So whatever that means.
Hey, this is called an experiment. This is called the scientific method. We are the experiment. We are the guinea pigs. Yeah. I think that, honestly, you brought that up. I think that was the problem. They never expected 30% of the population to not get vaccinated. And if you remember back then, they were going to blame outbreaks on the unvaccinated. The problem is the faulty test is what led COVID. We'll get into an entire episode on this kind of stuff, believe me, with me. The pandemic was driven through the use of a faulty test that didn't test for anything. People had COVID, common flu, whatever. You got a negative test.
And the flu disappeared for that period of time. It
vanished.
Come on.
Hey, we're not doctors. We're not doctors, right? Just shut up. We're not experts. Got to trust the experts and trust the science. Even though science isn't supposed to be trusted, it's supposed to be tested.
That's right.
Mark?
Hey, I mean, you guys are, hitting the nail on the head here. I mean, you talk about questioning things. I mean, you couldn't even question any of that stuff back then. I mean, you were thought of as a, anti-patriotic, anti-American. Also, couldn't question the election results. Couldn't question the validity of the 2020 election because, you can't do that. You can't question that. It's certified. It's legit. And now we're seeing all this time, all these years later, all the irregularities and all the problems with the mail-in voting.
It got better, though. I think this was also yesterday or the day before. The Select Committee on the Coronavirus Pandemic questioned Peter Daszak, whatever it is. Rishak. He released the COVID Select Committee released a staff-level report recommending EcoHealth Alliance President Dr. Peter Daszak be formally debarred and criminally investigated as a result of his actions prior to and during the COVID-19 pandemic. The report also exposes serious systematic weakness at the National Institute of Health that enabled EcoHealth to fund dangerous gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China. Mark, I was told by Dr. Fauci you are mistaken, sir. There is no gain-of-function research going on anywhere, in China, here, anywhere. What's up with that?
I would love to see Fauci prosecuted in the worst possible way. I mean, that is the only revenge we seek, I think, is seeing Tony Fauci and Peter Daszak prosecuted.
Can we strip him of his
crimes against humanity?
Can we strip him of his Italian heritage? Can we just strip him, Anthony? I mean, he makes you angry, sad to be an Italian. Like what the mob did for Italians in like the 30s. That's what he's doing now to the Italian heritage. Shame on you, Dr. Fauci. You will answer one day in this life or the next. All right, this episode went pretty quick. Mark, anything else? Ryan, we'll give it to you first. Anything you want to add?
You know what? I know we are pressed for time, so the only thing that I'm going to say is I am very, very curious to know what the souvenir was from Louisiana, but I guess I'll wait for another day, Joe, to find out what that is.
All right, Mark.
Thank you to all of our listeners out there across Beaver County, across the interwebs. Thank you to our producer, Ryan. And we will see you guys on Monday. Happy Kentucky Derby Day weekend. Happy Cinco de Mayo. We'll see you guys on Monday.
Thanks for listening, guys. The show is Thinking Logically. The time is 5 to 6 p.m. The days are Monday and Thursday. Tune in. Until next week, I'm Joe Corsi, your host. Have a great day.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St.